it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's soap making video. Might sound a little bit funny on the camera today because I do have a little bit of a head cold and I can hardly hear anything, so who knows what I'm actually saying. But I've got to get these intros done. So today we're going to go and make some ginger and black orchid soap. Let's go. Alright, so let's jump in like we always do by pouring our lime water solution into our oils, both of which are at room temperature. Just trying to do it gently so that I don't do any splashback on it. Let's get it mixed and then separated for the colours. Okay, so for the colours, I have got a little bit of High Society, which is from off of Nurture Soap, and if I'm remembering correctly, this is one of the ones that Tiara sent to me. I have two green sample sachets from off of Nurture Soap. One of them was sent to me by Nurture Soap and one of them Tiara sent to me, and I'm pretty sure she sent me High Society. And we've got in this one, I have got some marigold mica with some titanium dioxide. I'm going to go for about half in that one. And then I think I've got way too much green, so I'm actually going to pour it into this one, which has got some black oxide, because it doesn't matter if I get any green in there because it will go a dark colour anyway. So as I said, that one has got black oxide in it, and that should do for that because I don't want that too overpowering. And then into my big bucket I'm going to put in some more of the marigold mica, but what I've done is in my little jug I've only put a little bit with some titanium dioxide to get a nice pale colour, and then this one I'm going to add some more so we get a deeper shade of this one. So that should do. Let's get all this mixed up together. So the green I gave an extra mix because I am going to do this for piping, so I always take that up to a medium to thick trace so that I'm not waiting too long for it to finish setting up. And that means that by the time we've got the soap poured and the embeds on, we'll be right for piping leaves. We'll get our stick blender out the way, we'll pop that to one side. That came out a bit pinker than what I was expecting, but oh well, it will probably actually darken up. Let's get that off. Before I do any more mixing, let's actually leave that in there and let's get our fragrance in. This fragrance I have had sitting for a while and I decided it's time to use it. It is called Ginger and Black Orchid, and it was one of those that I bought in 2020 when fragrance supply was so bad that it was basically, that's in stock, I'll have that, or you know, that will do for this. And I was stockpiling little 100ml bottles of fragrance oil so I can actually make soap, and I got that one in and I actually really do like it. I'm not usually a fan of ginger fragrances, but this actually has a base of patchouli and musk, so it doesn't have that real strong ginger smell to it, but it is quite earthy. It's also got notes of the orchid, heliotrope and bergamot in there as well, and it is really nice. So even though it's meant to be a floral name, it's got enough of those woodier notes in here that I'm not, well, it doesn't look like it is, but I wasn't too concerned about it actually accelerating. The reason I've hung on to it for so long is I was trying to work out how to make orchids as embeds to go on my soap. Now, if you caught the orchid and sea salt one, the soap that I made, I actually piped the orchids to go on that one, and for this one I have made my orchids using soap dough, and I'll show you that when we get to the end and it's time to put them on the soap. So that's my black. I'll get this dark colour mixed up, and then we'll grab that mould. Oh, and this one does have 1.9% vanillin in it, so I'm expecting this one to darken in colour, which is why I'm not too worried about that pink colour. I think that will actually darken up quite nicely. And if Lee's theory about when you pour your fragrance in and it goes brown is correct, that means your soap's going to go brown, this one is going to darken, but I think it's going to be worth it because it smells so good. Alright, so that is all mixed in. Let's do, I'm going to pour my pink into my black like so. Grab the mould and in we go. With this last little bit, so I don't end up with too much of a drop in that main one, I'm actually going to pour this in here. I find if I've got a little bit left over and pour it in there, it quite often looks more like a drop than a swirl, and I really do want to try and get some swirls in this one today. Don't know why, I just feel that ginger flower, orchid, delicate, swirly, not droppy. So let's get the rest of this poured in and see what swirls we can get. Right, that is still really fluid, just as I thought it might be with all that. So I've always have good luck with fragrances that have a patchouli base. So I'm going to have to leave that to set up a little bit so I can do my top and then add on embellishments. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so things are looking good. And I'm only going to texture the one side of this soap, and it looks like that black is setting up a lot quicker because it's a bit chunky under there. But we're just going to do a simple spoon on this side, and then on the other side I'm going to pipe some leaves, and I'll show you my little orchid embeds. Okay, so here are the orchids that I've done. I have done some of the black orchids, and then I gave them a ginger coloured middle in them. So these ones, as I said, I made these ones using some soap dough, and that's that one. And this is the one that I used when I did the piping for the orchid and sea salt. They each have their own quirky little characteristics. I do kind of prefer the soap dough one, but I do like the ruffled edges of the white one as well. So I don't know, maybe next time I've got another one, I'll see what happens as to which way I do them. But what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my green from out of here. I've got a Wilton Leaf Tip 67. I'm going to pipe some nice big leaves on this side, and then we're going to stick one orchid onto each of the soap bars. What I'll do first of all is actually turn this around, because it'll make it easier for me. Let's make sure you can still see. You can. And then what I'm going to do, I'll start at this end here. Just got to get my tip the right way and enough pressure on the bag. And we might go from here, and we'll put the orchid down the bottom there. I'm going to just do some really nice big long ruffled leaves. They're probably not a true orchid leaf. In fact, I know they're not a true orchid leaf because I have a few orchids at home, but it's art and we can do whatever we want with art. But that is what I'm going to end up doing on all of these. So I'll go through, pipe all of my leaves first, and then pop on all of those orchids. give it a little bit of shine, I am going to spritz it with some Blizzard mica, and that just helps also to bring up some of those sort of grooves in the soap and the definition on those leaves, and it looks pretty. Alright, so there it is. I'll bring you down for a closer look. Okay, so there is Ginger and Black Orchid, and I am loving how that has come up. I hope it doesn't discolor too badly, but we will have to wait and see. It smells absolutely amazing. I'm going to leave it sit here overnight, and then we'll be back shortly and we'll cut it open and take a look. Alright, so we are here to cut into Ginger and Black Orchid. I am a little bit worried about what this fragrance is going to do to the colour. It's done some funny things to the colour of this soap. It's almost like I've put a green yellow through it from what I can see on the top here. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what this one does over time. It was a little bit difficult to get out the mould as well because it had been so fluid. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to flip this around so I can see exactly where these wires are going to go through this soap. Now, I know some people have said to me in the past, you know, sometimes it is really worth just taking that time and getting out the single bar cutter and doing it that way. But the one problem I do have with that is that when I marked up my wooden molds, I've got one here I can show you. This is a future soap I'm making, but you can see all my lines on the mold, and to get those in the right place I actually took a print of my wires and transferred them onto the mold, because what I discovered is that because it is a handmade cutter, there are little discrepancies in the size of the wire. So even though I've ordered it at 2.5, some of my wires sit at 2.6, some sit at 2.3, and it might not seem like it makes a huge difference, but it does. So when you start using the single bar cutter, it really still throws everything off, because you've got your single bar cutter set to do 2.5 every time, whereas some of these bars, one of them I know is about 2.7. I think it's this particular bar in the middle here. So it really doesn't help me to do this on the single bar cutter, because it's still going to be out of whack anyway. So with saying that, let's grab a couple out of the middle. Oh, look at that. I like that design. Love the colors, love the top. That is just absolutely gorgeous, but it does look like there is a whole heap of yellow that has been put in there as well. So really am hoping that this one is not going to discolor too badly, but I do like the colors and the swirls that have gone through that. Very, very pretty. It smells really good as well. Really pleased with it. It is very much so an earthy patchouli sort of smell. I don't really get the sort of orchid and the what was the other one in there? Ginger. Definitely don't get ginger out of it, but I do get that earthy patchouli sort of smell out of this one. I am happy. I do think this one is going to discolor over time, but hopefully the discoloring is going to complement the whole soap and it won't go completely brown, seeing as it's going that sort of yellowy color. We'll have to wait and see. But if you come over onto Instagram, I will be posting pictures of this one when it is ready, and I always post pictures of the cured soaps so people know what they are actually going to get. But it does look like on here I've got 3 colors poured as a drop in there. So absolutely fascinating. Love, love, love those little orchids on the top. They're just so pretty, and I somehow did manage to get them all the perfect size. I don't think I damaged any of them once I turned that around in my cutter. There is the end piece. It's got some interesting swirl in there. Just move these over, give myself a bit more room. You can't see what I'm doing there. But there it is. There is my Ginger and Black Orchid soap. I hope you've enjoyed coming along as I made this one. Oh look, we did get a little damage. I will be able to fix that one up quite easily because it's still quite soft, so we'll just pop that one to one side for now. But I hope you have enjoyed watching how I made this soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one. I'll see you then. Bye.